I want to say, if you've ever felt that you're a little stuck in life and you need to change things and make your life new, I have found something very interesting to show you. It's called Vortex Astrology. It was actually invented by a man in Thailand. His name is Mel. He has a holistic retreat center there, and I stumbled across Vortex Astrology totally by accident one day. I was looking up Vertex on the internet and I found Vortex instead. So he says that you would not even be drawn to this kind of astrology unless you were ready for it. Now, what does it do? He gives you locations that are based on magnetic and gravitational vibrations, and when you go there to these special locations, it accelerates your spiritual growth. In some ways, he says that the actual brain forms new ways of thinking, new lines between the synapses, and that allows you to see life in a much different way. And in fact, align your personality traits up with your soul's intent for this planet. So it's the most amazing thing I've ever heard. I'd like to share a little bit with you about what happened to Mel when he stepped into his Vortex location. He didn't know about Vortex Astrology at the time. He said he simply had this quick experience. Years ago at Bangkok Airport, where my plane stopped for refueling for 45 minutes, I met my wife. 2 months later, I was back in Thailand on a stopover. In 3 days, we moved in together. In 5 days, I had a teaching job, teaching English. I didn't even know how to read or write English, and that's how I learned it, by teaching it. 1 year later, I jumped into a real estate business with a capital of $10,000, making consistent quarterly capital gains of 1,000%. And this was a country where the culture and language were very alien, and I had no previous experience of real estate, nor had I any friends or connections. So he says when you go to these Vortex locations, your whole life will rapidly start to change. I mean, not maybe as dramatically as his did, because he is an Aquarian. He's very open-minded. By the way, I got his birth information, and it's the chart of a genius. Mel goes on to say, I can never be grateful enough to thank the universal source for this gift. I can't take personal credit for it because I didn't invent it. It came to me and struck me like a lightning bolt, and it still does. So I thought it'd be really fun to show you where he said I have to go in order to get my magnetic charge, my little new spin on life, okay? So cameraman, come over here and I'll show the viewers what it looks like. It's basically where your planets are lining up with the North Node. I'm actually going to study this system with Mel so I can do it myself. But here in Sydney, Australia, he gives me 330,000 volts of electromagnetic energy. And I have to tell you that most people live in a place where they only have 50. In my birthplace, I was charged with 95,000 volts. And here, he wants me not to go to Tokyo because it's only 70,000. It's less than I was born with. It really won't have that much impact on me. But in Europe, in Paris, I get 370,000 volts. But the very best place for me, well, I can't go to is South Egypt right now because obviously the war. And I would get 960,000 volts if I went to Egypt or the Tibet Isles. But the place that I do intend to go to is not Rakat, India, here, where I would still get 906,000 volts. But I'll tell you, the place that he also gave me is actually Tahiti. So that's where I'm going. I don't know where my Tahiti chart is, but that's where I'm headed. Okay. Now, so if you ever have done a lot of traveling, you might know that by traveling you do change quite a bit. You grow incredibly. And the astrocartography that I do is help many of my clients in picking great places for vacation or relocation. But this Vortex Astrology is something simply totally new, and it's only for those people that really want to know about it. So if you want to know more about Vortex Astrology, call me or write me after the show, and I'll put you on to Mel.